Hello and welcome to Newsfeed, your daily dose of what people are talking about online, from news stories to what's trending. The biggest crypto trial of the century is underway. Almost a year after the spectacular implosion of crypto exchange FTX, its founder Sam Bankman-Fried has pleaded not guilty in the U.S. to charges he stole more than $10 billion of customer money. Bankman-Fried, better known as SBF, was once seen as one of the few reliable figures in the loosely regulated crypto space. FTX was the world's second largest crypto exchange, but it all came crashing down in November when a report exposed FTX's shady finances. That led to a rush in customer withdrawals, uncovering an $8 billion hole in the exchange's balance sheet. SBF's lawyers argue that FTX went bust because of his inexperience at managing the exchange, once valued at $32 billion. But prosecutors say Bankman-Fried's fraud was calculated and he intentionally lied to steal customer funds. SBF spent billions on real estate in the Bahamas, political donations, and to cover a massive shortfall in funds at his hedge fund Alameda Research.
Prosecutors at the trial today alleged that Bankman-Fried knew about the fraud from the very beginning, that he had set up the mechanisms and the bank accounts and the software needed to siphon money from FTX customers and send it into Alameda Research to fund his own projects, his real estate, and his political donations. The defense is arguing that the losses that happened at FTX were caused by the broad cryptocurrency meltdown last year and honest business mistakes that just happen as someone runs a company and runs into turbulence.
Well, it seems like SBF's failures were more than honest business mistakes that led to some turbulence. The evidence shows that FTX's collapse can't be blamed on mere incompetence.
Bankman-Fried is now facing charges that could land him in prison for decades. Here's a look at the maximum sentences for all the charges he's facing. And basically what Bankman-Fried is accused of is taking customer money from FTX and spending it all over the place. Prosecutors say the way he did that was to take money from FTX and transfer it to a related investment fund called Alameda Research. Now, Alameda was seemingly independent but had a very cozy relationship with Bankman-Fried and FTX. In fact, it was run by his on and off girlfriend, Caroline Ellison.
Meta could be on the verge of charging for ad-free access to Instagram and Facebook in Europe. It's all part of a proposal to appease EU regulators who are concerned about the privacy of users, and offers an alternative to ad-based services which rely on analyzing people's data. It also signifies how people could experience technology differently in the US and Europe because of government policy. It's reported that those who pay for Facebook and Instagram subscriptions will not see ads in the apps. The cost, well, is rumored to be $14 a month for ad-free Insta on your phone. Joining me from Newcastle in the north of England is tech journalist and author Chris Stokel-Walker. Now, Chris, it's great to see you again. So what do you make of these proposals?
I think they're really interesting, and they also put a dollar figure on something that we've long discussed, which is the value of our data. As you say, $14 or so in order to remove adverts from meta platforms, so Instagram, Facebook, and others. It is potentially not that expensive for many people who might not want to be tracked around the internet and who also might just want a little bit of a smoother experience when they're on these apps. So yeah, it is significant for a number of reasons, not least because it does finally kind of quantify how much Meta is willing to bid, I suppose, for us to do this, but also it kind of shows, I think, the regulatory might of Europe that is starting to really take shape and force these companies into doing something like this.
I mean, this is quite insane, though, don't you think, that you'd have to pay for privacy online?
Yeah, well, this is one of the fundamental problems of how we have designed social media and the internet more broadly, which is we have become the product. Our attention is monetized in every single way. And yes, while it may seem strange if we think about this, detached from the internet, it is simply the way that things work. I have, for instance, an Android phone, which is operated by Google. The ability to get access to all of those apps is predicated on the fact that they will use some of my usage data in some sense of form, which, I mean, is an issue, and it is one that the European Union is trying to crack down on, particularly that personalised ad element. The European Union has kind of made a judgment in July, which is why we see this coming, and also TikTok is offering something similar-ish to its European consumers, and it is an attempt to try and, I guess, wrestle back, control, and not remove adverts entirely, because ultimately these are businesses that need to operate and make a profit, but also just to try and remove some of that kind of personalized, creepy element that lots of people have around a little bit of uncertainty as to whether or not they want to give up all that data about themselves.
Which begs the question, how much data are these tech giants actually scraping from you?
Yeah, huge amounts, and we know that through elements like the Cambridge Analytica scandal, where it was possible to micro-target individuals based on their interests. It can be anything from your age, your location, your occupation, if you choose to share it with the platform, to your interests and your hobbies, your passions and your fears, because you are ultimately signing up to individual pages on Facebook and liking things. On Instagram, you maybe linger a little bit longer on, I don't know, the Hollywood gossip posts that you see on your feed rather than the cooking ones, and therefore that enables the app to build up a little bit of a picture of you. So every tap, every swipe, every moment that we dwell on content on these apps is being used against us ultimately, and being used for the benefit of advertisers. And the one silver lining about this, yes, if we want to have a kind of non-tracking experience, we may have to fork out for it, but at least the good thing about this is we're all becoming a little bit more aware of how much data we give up to these apps and how they use us.
Yeah, it's quite scary indeed, those privacy concerns with our data these days. Thank you, Chris, for those insights today. Tesla CEO Elon Musk's on and off girlfriend Grimes is ready to battle the world's richest man in a custody case over their youngest son, Tao, whose existence was only discovered by the public recently following the release of Musk's biography. All of this started in early September when Grimes tweeted and very quickly deleted a response to a picture of Musk's kids with Siobhan Zillis. The agitated mother asked Elon to let her see her son or please answer to her lawyer. The singer said this was the first time she saw a picture of Musk's other kids, despite the situation ripping her family apart. Musk never responded to that tweet, but apparently he quietly sued Grimes on September 7th, just 3 days before that tweet and the singer's custody case. The never-married couple had a contentious relationship, and Grimes' lawsuit, filed on September 29th, seeks to establish a parental relationship with their kids. It could also be used to seek child support. So if your iPhone is broken and it's still under warranty, it's pretty easy to swap it out for a new device from your nearest Apple store. Well, two criminally enterprising brothers in San Diego spent years tricking that system and have been sentenced to 41 months jail, having swapped out fake iPhones and iPads for the real deal. Over the span of 8 years, Jimin and Jiting Liao conned Apple out of $6 million worth of merchandise from the tech giant's stores across the US and Canada. They'd import the fake iPhones and iPads from China and later sell the genuine devices they got in return from Apple in foreign countries. Prosecutors say the siblings tried to exchange more than 10,000 counterfeit devices at Apple stores in the long-running con. A third brother, Jiwei Liao, was also involved in the con job and will be sentenced later this month. The siblings' wives have also been sentenced for their involvement in the scheme. They'll be under probation for 3 years. Paris, the city of love, fashion, the upcoming Olympics, and bed bugs. The capital and France in general has been invaded by these little critters. They've been spotted in metros, cinemas, hotels, well, anywhere with upholstery, really.
We were in Paris and suspected bed bugs in our airbag and hired a sniffer dog. The search started in the kitchen and the living room. The dog didn't find anything, so we tried the bedroom. The dog found something, so it stopped moving so the handler can inspect closer. Evidence of bed bugs.
Earlier this year, a pest control company said there's been a 65% increase in infestations across the country. The city's deputy mayor, Emmanuel Gregoire, said no one is safe. And now that Paris Fashion Week is over, many people online are worrying that the tiny bugs might have hitchhiked on travelers' suitcases to their cities.
At first, I thought this whole Paris bedbug situation was kind of comical. And now I'm like, oh, no, it's not. I've been reading a few articles and watching a couple videos. Apparently, this might last longer than I thought, right? I thought it would last maybe like 2-3 weeks. Like, that's it. No. Apparently, like, this could take months to resolve, if not maybe years. Fact check me on that. Which is why a lot of these publications are citing, the summer 2024 Paris Olympics as a point of focus, right? Essentially, the city of Paris needs to get rid of the bedbug infestation before millions of people debark on the city.
That's easier said than done, though. But the French authorities are determined to not let bedbugs bite away the fun of the Olympic Games. The government is launching a concerted effort to fight bedbugs, and PM Elizabeth Borne held a special meeting with the cabinet to tackle the crisis on Friday. Meanwhile, transit officials are working on a plan with transport companies across France. Yet the public's anxiety doesn't seem to be calming down. Many are choosing not to sit down on the seats in the metro, if not ditching public transport altogether.
Par contre, dès qu'ils voient une piqûre, maintenant ils se posent plus d'une question.
Now, as soon as they spot a bite, they don't ask themselves whether it comes from bed bugs or not. They call us straight away and sometimes bring in pest-sniffing dogs. And that's how they realize they have bed bugs. In France, 1 in 10 people are affected. It's 1 in 4 in Paris.
In neighboring Spain, one of the most famous buildings in the world is over 140 years old, and it's still not completed. But that's about to change. Antoni Gaudi's extraordinary Sagrada Familia in Barcelona, surely the most impressive church in the world, has entered its final stage of construction. For residents of Barcelona and the millions of visitors who have flocked to admire its splendor, the sight of scaffolding clinging to its facades has become a familiar part of the city's landscape. But on Wednesday, the final sculptural piece was placed on the tower known as Matthew the Evangelist. And when the 6th and final central tower is put in place, probably in 2026, the church will finally be finished. Here's an architect's impression of what the final stages will look like. That's more than 140 years in the making. And that's our show. Find our latest stuff on YouTube and do subscribe to our channel. See you soon.